Yo, what is up YouTube? It's the Common Collector coming back at you. I know that I promised I would be coming out with this Harpie deck tutorial a lot sooner, but I've been having some tech problems lately. My computer's been at the Geek Squad for a couple days now, so finally here to get back into this. So I want to show you all of some of the best combos to be doing with this deck. So I'm just going to get right on into it. Going first, kind of what you're going to be wanting to see on that first turn open. Now these first three cards, Harpist, your Channeler, and Harpie's Feather Storm, those are kind of your top three that you always want to be getting. And then Hysteric Party and Hysteric Sign are just kind of nice bonuses to have going on into your next turn and on your opponent's first turn. So anyways, let's just get right on into this. Your first move would be to obviously summon Channeler. Then you're going to activate your Harpie's Feather Storm. That's going to make it so your opponent's hand traps and whatnot aren't going to be going off. You can wait until they activate one. That way you're not just ditching this for no reason in case they have no effects to use on you. But anyways, just having this in the hand first turn is always nice. That's why we run 3 of in this deck. So anyways, having that in your hand is always nice. Then anyways, going on with Channeler's effect, you're going to ditch your Harpist, send that to the graveyard, and now you're going to get to special summon your Harpie's Pet Dragon to your side of the field. Next you're going to, now that Channeler is treated as a level 7 once you have a dragon on the field, now you're going to be able to go into Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon, and depending on the deck you're going against, like say you're going up against Salamangrates or even Orcus or something, they have to recur, or they have to go through so many of their resources just to make this go away that just opening up with a Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon can sometimes be, you know, kind of a game changer for them, because they don't have anything to get over this right away without getting rid of like half their life points. Then at the end of your turn, you're just going to want to set your Hysteric Party face down. Then that means that if your Red Eyes Flare does end up going to the graveyard at some point, then that goes to the graveyard. Activate your Hysteric Party, ditch your Hysteric Sign for that effect, and now you're going to be able to get back these two to your side of the field, as well as being able to get off Hysteric Sign's effect during your opponent's end phase to get 3 Harpies back to your hand. Also, Harpist's effect would also be going off during your turn. I should have mentioned that, but mainly this is your main discard for your Channeler, because that means that during the end phase of the turn that this is discarded, as long as it's still in the graveyard, you can add one of your level 4 lower wing beast type monsters with 1500 or less attack. So you can add another Channeler, you could add an Oracle, a Perfumer, or if you really wanted to, you could add a Harpie Lady 1. I don't really know why you would want to, but generally my target is to go into either a Perfumer or a Channeler, just in case, you know, even if the Channeler goes to the graveyard, then you can get another one. But if you have this Hysteric Party face down, that's a good way to go for it. So you're going to be able to take out some of your opponent's life points by them trying to get over your Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon, as well as having some backup with your Hysteric Party and having your Harpie's Feather Storm. So that's kind of a good hand that you want to be seeing as you're going on right away. Alright, going into combo number 2, this is more for a combo for while going second. You kind of want to be getting something like this. Also, the first option, if you're getting a Channeler into your hand and you have some sort of a Harpie, especially a Harpist, to discard and just go into any of your rank 7 or even your rank 4 plays just to you know, get out a Big Eye or your Mecha Phantom Beast Draco Sack. Anything like that is always a good rebuttal too on your first turn if you're going second. But if you are going second and you come across some of these cards, you're going to be looking pretty well also. So first thing that you're going to want to do, summon Perfumer. You're going to just, and it's just, again, it's just nice having that Harpie's Feather Storm in your hand as backup if you're going to be getting Ash Blossomed or anything like that. Next, when Perfumer is summoned, you're going to add Elegant Egotist into your hand. Now you're going to activate Elegant Egotist in order to special summon Harpie Lady Sisters to your side of the field. Once Harpie Lady Sisters is on the field, now you can special summon your Oracle with its own effect to your side of the field. Then Oracle's second effect goes off, which is going to let you get back your Elegant Egotist to your hand during the end phase, as long as you state that you're activating that during the main phase 1. Now that you have this on the field, you can, depending on what your other 2 or what your other 3 cards are that you draw during this turn, that means that if you have any kind of protection like your Harpie's Hunting Ground or Alluring Mirror Split, you could now go into Harpie Conductor. Or if you're not going for link plays exactly and you just want to XZ these into, say, an Ice Beast Zerofine or a Lightning Chidori, just something to get over whatever your opponent's boss monsters or their powerful spell or traps that are on the field, get over all of that. Or like I said, go into your Ice Beast Zerofine, because that can usually get over a lot of really powerful effects. And it doesn't just negate your opponent's monster effects, it also negates all face-up effects of all cards, so including the face-up spell or traps. So that's just kind of a good combo, just a simple, all you really need is your Perfumer and your Oracle, and you can get something like this going. And then you've also got 3 other cards that we're not mentioning that would be randoms that are going into your hand. Now we're going to go on to a couple other combos that are going to be a little more hypothetical, but just fun combos that can happen and do eventually sometimes happen the more you play test around with this deck. Okay guys, now for combo number 3 that I'm showing you, this is what I'm calling the Ditching the Garnets combo. Now, for those of you who don't know what a garnet is, it's basically when you get bricks in your hand that are dead cards that you do not want to draw. This deck runs 3 garnets, and you could almost argue that Harpie Lady 1 is another garnet, and we run 2 copies of that. Now, you're kind of thinking, why do I want to run a deck that runs 3 garnets? Well, the thing is that in this deck it actually can ditch the resources that you don't want to be drawing into pretty well. So I want to show you this combo right now. It really works pretty well. So in this combo, we're not only going to get rid of all of these from the hand, but we're also going to get out Saryuja and kind of get our hand revamped. So let's say that this is your 6-card draw, second turn, and you don't know what to do. Now, what you're going to start out with is you're going to discard your Queen and add your Harpie's Hunting Ground into your hand. Then summon Channeler onto the field. Now, depending on what your opponent puts out there for spells and traps, is when you're going to want to determine when you use this. I'm just going to kind of go with a rule of thumb that my opponent has a field spell and possibly a continuous spell card on the field. Let's say we're going up against Salamangrates and they have their field spell and Will of the Salamangrates on the field. So we're not going to activate Hunting Ground quite yet, but we're going to get to there eventually. Anyways, our next step that we're going to want to do after summoning Channeler is actually activate our Elegant Egotist. Instead of activating our effect, we go into Elegant Egotist first and get out our Harpie Lady Sisters onto the field. Now we want to discard one of our Harpie's Pet Dragons. Never forget that even though this is a target that we want to summon from the deck, this is also something that we can ditch for our Channeler. So now I'll just move the graveyard, that way that's a little more visible for us. That's our graveyard there. So Dragon goes to the graveyard, and now we can go into our deck and special summon out another Harpie. So we're going to go with one of our Perfumers. It has to go into defense, but Perfumer's effect will now go off that we can add 2 spell or traps that list Harpie Lady Sisters in the card text. So we're going to go with 1 Elegant Egotist and surprisingly 1 Alluring Mirror Split. This combo is actually going to go pretty well in here. So now this is what our hand is looking like. Already kind of getting a lot better. Anyways, so we're going to Oh, sorry, this is also in our hand. Depending on, again, what our opponent has out there. We're going to activate our hunting ground now, though. So that's in our field zone. And now we're going to activate Elegant Egotist. Sorry, we will activate Alluring Mirror Split. And then Elegant Egotist. Now we get to summon a Harpie Lady 1 from our deck to the side of the field. Now that we've summoned a Harpie on the field, we get to destroy a spell or trap on the field. So with Hunting Ground, we're going to destroy our Alluring Mirror Split. Now that Alluring Mirror Split goes to the graveyard by the effect of a Harpie card, we get to special summon one Harpie from our graveyard. Now we'll go with our Harpie's Pet Dragon, because Saryuja's materials do have to be monsters with different names, so that's what we're kind of trying to assemble here, because these three here are all being treated as Harpie Lady, which is one thing you kind of got to get around in this deck, not only for Saryuja, but that's Borreload, sorry, not only for Saryuja, but also for Nightmare Cerberus. So if you don't feel comfortable with that, because those could hinder you eventually, even especially the Nightmare Cerberus, you don't totally need it in this deck. I do like having Saryuja just for ditching the Garnets at the times when you need to, or just even revamping your hand at all, because you can really get some serious field presence in here. Anyway, so now is kind of the time that you could go into some link plays, like going into your Conductor or going into Great Fly. However, I kind of like going into Lightning Chidori in an instance like this. So let's just say that we go into our Lightning Chidori and we take two of our same name Harpies, take them, use them as material. Now when Chidori is summoned, we get to target a set card that our opponent controls, return that target to the bottom of the deck. So if there was another spell or trap on the field, it probably would have gotten triggered or activated by now, especially if it's a Salamangreat deck or anything like that. It probably would have just been one of the counter trap cards. But just for you know, devil's advocate, let's just say that we get to send a set card our opponent controls back to the bottom of the deck, and then also we could detach material from this to target a face-up card that our opponent controls and return that to the top of the deck. Anyways, we're not too concerned about that. Any effects that you can get off with Chidori or any of our other XZs or links is awesome, but the important thing is that now we have 4 different materials with 4 different names. We have a Chidori, a Harpie Dragon, a Harpie Lady, Harpie Channeler, and Harpie Lady's Sisters. So now we can take these and link away into our Saryuja Skull Dread. Now that Saryuja goes onto the field, we get all of its 3 effects, and we still have one of our dragons in the hand. Now, just to show that I'm shuffling the deck, we're just going to go completely from luck here. So, yeah, anything that comes out of the deck now is just, you know, we're kind of going into the realm of mystery and just playing this off like we're in an actual duel. So, I'll do a cut there. And once again, we have our dragon in the hand. So with Saryuja's effect, when it's summoned, we draw 4 cards and put 3 back to the bottom of the deck. Now, right there, that's not too bad. Obviously, one that we want to be sending back into the deck is our dragon, as well as, well, none of these are too terrible. These are all kind of cards that we wouldn't mind keeping. Saryuja also has an effect that we can special summon one monster from our hand, so we might as well keep our Harpist. And then that just means that we have to keep one of these 3 here. So I'm just going to go with Sign, just because Sign is just always so good to keep. So we're going to send the rest back into the deck. It maybe would have been beneficial still to keep possibly the Hysteric Party. Then we could have just done Sign and Party at once, but we're just going to say that we want to go into our Harpist here. Summon Harpist. I believe it has to be to a zone that it points to for its second effect. Once per turn, special summon one monster from your hand. Okay, it doesn't have to be to a zone that it points to. But then also, if we did go to a link that zone that it points to, now our Harpist is going to be gaining 300 attack, and along with our Hunting Ground, that's going to be a 2200 attack monster, so that's not too bad. Now we can activate a Hysteric Sign to add back one of our Elegant Egotist that we've used up. Use Elegant Egotist to special summon our final Harpie Lady 1 from the deck. And now we could even, that would be in the graveyard. And now we can even go into some other plays if we really wanted to. Now we could do anything else, such as next turn, if these two are still on the field, we could go into a Diamond Direwolf in order to destroy our Hysteric Sign to get off the second effect of that. We could go into Abyss Dweller if we're afraid that our opponent's going to activate any graveyard effects, anything like that. So the sky's kind of the limit. You think that you have a bad hand, you get 3 really bad cards into your hand, three bad draws, but still you can come out on top with a field like this. And the potential for what these two could do here for going into XZ and Link plays is pretty good as well. So that'll do it for this part here. Now we'll go on into the fourth combo. Alright guys, now for combo number 4, this is the ultimate opening hand. This is all completely hypothetical, keep in mind, but this is just sort of almost a recipe that I came up for. If you were on your first turn going second and this is what you drew into, this was exactly what you would want if you're trying to kind of show off the deck. And this is all me just showing off the deck, but if you'll note in the deck, there are 3 different cards that get off combos for get benefits for having a Harpie monster of level 5 or higher, which is generally your Harpie's Pet Dragon or your Harpie Lady Sisters on the field. Sometimes you can get off some funky plays with your Harpie Channeler if it's being treated as a level 7. But anyways, if this combo here is going to show you how to get off all 3 of these effects in one turn, their bonus effects, as well as getting off all 3 of your graveyard effects, which are Oracle and your Harpist, as well as at the end of your turn getting off your Hysteric Sign. So I'll show you how to combo off all 3 of those as well. So let's just get right on into it. So I added again the Harpie's Featherstorm just to make this this combo a little more realistic, a little more grounded. So let's say that I also gave our opponent two just random Link monsters I had lying around, a Decode Talker and a Link Rebo. Just some cards that sometimes will make you struggle to get over, but hypothetically, just to say that you got to get over some cards that your opponent has. So let's say you activate your Channeler, discard your Harpist for Channeler's effect. Your opponent tries to Ash Blossom you or anything else. Activate your Harpie's Featherstorm to negate your opponent's monster effects for the turn. Special summon your Harpie's Pet Dragon from your deck with your Channeler's effect. Now that this is the rest of the cards in your hand, we're going to activate Card Destruction and send these 2 to the graveyard. That means that during the end phase we're going to be getting Hysteric Sign off, and now we have our graveyard set for a Perfumer. So I sometimes, especially if I'm just doing a casual duel with my friend, I like to set my graveyard effect cards aside, because sometimes you will forget about them, or at least set them to the bottom of your graveyard. That way you just don't forget at the end of your turn to kind of go through your graveyard and go, oh, okay, boom, there they are. We got to make sure to add those cards to our hand. So now we activated Card Destruction. We're going to add 2 cards to our hand. Again, hypothetically, I'm already picking aside the cards that we would want to draw from this. Hey guys, I accidentally just ran out of tape, sorry about that, but let's just keep going on. So the last thing that we did was use Card Destruction in order to set up our graveyard with a sign and sending Perfumer to the graveyard as well. So now we have 2 of our graveyard effects already set there. Now we're going to say that off of our Card Destruction, again this turn is all completely hypothetical, but we're going to draw into a Monster Reborn and Oracle here. So now what we can do is use the Monster Reborn to get back the Perfumer that we just ditched. Perfumer's effect will now go off, and since we have a level 5 or higher Harpie, we can now add 2 cards from our deck to our hand that have Harpie Lady Sisters in the card text, and we're going to go with Elegant Egotist and Harpie's Feather Rest off of that effect. Going on further, then we'll want to activate Elegant Egotist in order to special summon our Harpie Lady Sisters onto the field, and Feather Rest will be sitting in our hand, but also our Oracle that we pulled off the deck earlier can now get special summoned onto the field by its own effect. The effect being that you have to have a level 5 or higher Harpie on the field. And so now that we get that onto the field, now we can go into some of our Link and XZ plays. So first off, I would probably, in this particular scenario, since Decode Talker can stop targeting effects, we can't exactly go into like our Big Eye or our Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosac. So in this instance, I would probably just take these two, go on into our Ice Beast Zerofine, and now that we've got that on the field, we can detach one of our materials and negate the face-up effects of our opponent's monsters. So now he's going to be back down to his original 2300 attack, and Link Kariba won't be able to activate its effect, as well as also having our Harpie's Feather Storm negating his activating effects as well. So now that that's on the field, we can, I would then take these guys, and you can take them and link on into your Harpie Conductor. Since I don't have a Conductor yet, we're going to go just into a Great Fly here in this instance. Now that you've got Great Fly on the field, you've got your graveyard pretty well set up, now you can activate your Harpie's Feather Rest and send 3 of your Harpie Ladies back into your deck. And this is very important. Do not touch your Harpist, because that has to stay in the graveyard in order to get off its graveyard effect. Also, I should have mentioned earlier, I kind of skipped over this, is that when you summon your Oracle, normal or special summon, you want to activate its effect, because then you're going to be able to get from your graveyard your Elegant Egotist back, or your Harpie's Feather Rest, whatever card that has Harpie Lady Sisters in the card text. So usually I go for Egotist off of that, and then you can just kind of put that onto the top of your deck. That way you remember for the end phase as well. Or put it down to the bottom next to your other end phase effects. I don't think it really matters tournament-wise or anything if you manipulate your graveyard or anything like that, so I kind of like doing that just to remind myself. So anyways, these 3 here are going to go back into the deck. And now, again, we're going to be getting off all of our effects. So since we have a level 5 or higher Harpie with our Harpie Feather Rest, we're going to be able to draw 2 cards off of that effect. So now we'll draw 2, and now I think we're going to just go completely random with everything. So now we're drawing a Channeler as well as a Hysteric Sign. Now we can't activate the Hysteric Sign this turn, and we can't even, well, we've already normal summoned, but we wouldn't be able to use the Channeler's effect either. So these guys are kind of dead in the hand for now, but that's all fine. So now that we've got our board pretty well set here, I kind of like that. Now that means that our Zerofine would have quite a bit of attack, would easily be able to go over Decode Talker, and then Great Fly can go over Link Karibo, and that's all good there. The next best thing, again, these 2 are already in our hand. Now during our end phase, Harpist effect goes off, and we'll be able to add a Harpie with 1500 or less attack, so let's just go with another Oracle for safekeeping. Then we'll get off our Oracle's old effect and get our Elegant Egotist back into our hand. Finally, Hysteric Signs effect goes off, and we can add 3 more Harpies or Harpie cards to our hand. It does not specifically have to be, yeah, just 3 Harpie cards. So that's when I usually keep recurring my Harpie's Feather Storm. So we'll get that into our hand, as well as 3 more. So a Harpist, that way we have another target for Channeler to discard next turn if we use it. and anything else that you would want. I would maybe go for a queen here, just so in case your opponent starts using some back row, then you can get out your Harpie's Hunting Ground next turn. And so at the end of this turn, you have all these resources in your hand, and you've gotten off just about every effect that you can possibly get with this deck, aside from using like Hysteric Party or Alluring Mirror Split, but those don't come off as often. But it's always super nice when you can get off your Harpie's Feather Rest, but I only run 2 in the deck because it's a little situational. Sometimes you can't get your graveyard as full, but that's kind of that's the ultimate combo right there. And now we'll just go into some other discussion. Okay guys, just a couple quick thoughts before ending the video. I know that I already glossed over some of this stuff in my deck profile, but your main card destruction targets, which the reason why we're running it in this deck is for your Harpie Harpist as well as your Hysteric Sign, because those are your 2 graveyard end phase effects, as well as a Blackwing Zephyros, because he works so good since we have so many cards that stay face, so many spells, and even a trap that stays face up on the field, that when Hysteric Sign is on your field, you activated it last turn to get an Elegant Egotist in your hand, Zephyros is in your graveyard, send this back into your hand, summon Zephyros back to your side of the field, use it for Link or XZ fodder, and then activate your Hysteric Sign again, get back your Elegant Egotist, or you can use this for a discard for, say, your Hysteric Party or anything like that. Also with your Hysteric Party, you can use Zephyros to your advantage with Zephyros being in the graveyard, and if you say you had these brought back with your Hysteric Party, you send those and they get linked away or used as XZ material. Now they're no longer being targeted by Hysteric Party. However, this stays on the field. You can now send it back to your hand in order to be able to reuse it later, seeing as how all the targets are gone. However, it does stay on the field, so you're able to pop it back. Or you can also use Hysteric Party just as something if you ever use your Hunting Ground too early and you need to destroy a spell or trap on the field and you don't want to get rid of your field spell or anything else that's on the field, your Alluring Mirror Split, if you're not ready to part ways with that yet, you can get rid of your Hysteric Party that way. Moving on, going into the Magical Hats combo. Again, it's kind of an odd combo to run in here, but when your opponent attacks into you and you have a monster on the field, then you take that monster, set it face down with your Magical Hats, take 2 of your spell or trap cards from your deck and use them as monsters. I always go with a Hysteric Sign in this. That's the reason why we're running it in the deck, as well as either an Elegant Egotist, since it is recurable and we have 2 copies in the deck. You can set that, and then when that goes to the graveyard, it really doesn't hurt you that much. Or in some niche situations, you could use an Alluring Mirror Split, because if your opponent has monsters that instantly destroy cards by battle or anything like that, then this card would technically be being sent to the graveyard by a card effect from your opponent, and then you can get off the effect to special summon back one of your Harpies from the graveyard, which seems a little situational, but I have had it happen at least once that I know of. Finally, just a quick discussion. I know that I kind of jumped the gun on making this deck profile now that Harpie Conductor is coming out. I would suggest to replace at least one of the 2 Great Flies that I had in the deck profile. Replacing one of them for a Conductor would be a very good option. For those of you who don't know about Harpie Conductor, it's coming out in the new Battles of Legend Heroes Revenge set that comes out this week. So Harpie Conductor is coming out in that set. It has the exact same attack once Great Fly gets its own attack boost, and has the exact same link arrows. So putting a Conductor in the deck is definitely a good choice. It has an effect that when one of your Harpies is returned to the hand, you can also send one of your opponent's special summon monsters from the hand, or from the field to the hand, which is a pretty nice effect. As well as its second effect is that if you if one of your Harpies is being destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send one of your spell or traps to the graveyard instead. So getting able to, I mean, that combo just makes your Hysteric Sign that much better, because now even during your opponent's turn you can consistently be sending your Hysteric Signs or your Alluring Mirror Splits to the graveyard. So I highly suggest getting your hands on a couple of Conductors, if not at least one. Anyways guys, thanks for hanging with me again today. I know this was another kind of long video, but I could talk about Harpies all day. Let me know. I know I've been getting a couple comments down below in the about what to be putting out there for future deck profiles, so I'm really appreciating it. I love all the comments you guys have been giving me, so thank you very much. And Common Collector out. Thanks, dudes.